Okay, so Mr. Kolier, tell us the name of your business.
There are several businesses that I've started, but the one that will be most relevant probably would be YourCover.
Okay, and what made you decide to open up your own business?
The first reason was that it was an idea that hadn't been done by anybody else. I thought it had some possibilities in the marketplace, and I was interested in finding out, and I was able to do that.
And could you describe exactly what it is that YourCover does?
It's changed a little bit over the years. It's been around for almost 15 years now. But originally, the concept was, and still sort of is, a personalized fake magazine cover. And it's really just a cover, so most people make the mistake of thinking there's a magazine inside of it, and really only is a one sheet, or in the old days we started with a 2 sheets, a 4-pager.
Okay. And or did you have a certain inspiration, or the idea just came to you one day, or?
Absolutely, there's an inspiration for it. I had done something for my partner's birthday that I was able to get printed, and basically it was sort of a goof, a magazine called Over Par, and I made up all these headlines, and I made up top 10 ways he could shoot his age in golf, and why his wife hates Florida but he loves it, and his daughters, and everything was all fake. And I had a printer friend who was actually able to lithographically print it for me, which in those days would have cost $1,000, maybe even more. But as it turns out, at the party where I gave it out, a bunch of people came up to me and said, "Oh, you know, I'd really like you to do one for my grandma's 85th birthday," or whatever it was. And I'm like, well, that could cost like $1,000 or $1,500 to do that. I wasn't even thinking about the cost of creation. Just to print it in those days was very expensive. And they said, "Okay." And I was, no, I really don't want to do that. So I put the idea aside, and then as printing technology got better, and you could print one-offs for a lot less money, the possibility of a company that could do these things really began to crystallize in my mind.
Okay, and so finding that money, how did you obtain that startup capital?
We didn't go outside for capital. I'd had another successful business at the time that threw off enough capital that we peeled some of that investment off and put it into YourCover.
Okay, and so it's an online company, correct? So it's all done.
Yes, as a matter of fact, when we started, it wasn't. It was an offline company, and everything was done through the mail. So customers would send us their photos and answers to questions that I created, so I could write the covers. We had an artist that would put the pictures together and put all the copy together, and then we would have a proof internally, but we would never show it to the customer until we actually sent them the copies. Whereas today, it's all done online, right? So people can go onto our site, our website, which is yourcover.com, and they can upload a photo, and they can pick from a library of suggestions that were created over the years that I wrote them for other people. I just put together a library which basically appear on the site itself, and people can choose things that I wrote for other people. If they can't think of something to say, they can see a proof in real time on the site itself, and if they like it, they can hit send, and they can have an instant photo file download or a JPEG sent to them or emailed to them, and so that they absolutely have the opportunity to get it right here and right now, which is something we couldn't do, obviously, when we had to print and mail them to the customers.
And so when you first started it, obviously social media wasn't so much of a thing, but now currently are you using social media platforms to try and get the word out there about?
Sure. And we haven't ever spent a lot of money on advertising, but you're right. We didn't have any social media when the company was started in 2000. But now we use some of the sites to post covers of the month that customers might have made that they can vote on or whatnot, and that could show up in Facebook or Twitter. It probably should show up in maybe Pinterest, but we don't really do that much with Pinterest. We're a little lacking there.
Okay. And legally, obviously now you have licensing for the name, and what do you have?
So the URL and the name are all copyrighted, obviously. We don't really have, we're a limited liability corporation, an LLC, and that's just more how the structure that I want for me personally. Those are favorable to upstart companies like YourCover.
Okay. And in terms of employees, How many people work at the company? Is it just you? Is it a family-run business?
It's absolutely a family-run business. My wife runs the business and has for a long time, day to day. She handles all the customer service calls. She handles the processing of orders and arranges to have them printed and shipped, whether it's internally or if in the case of coffee mugs and posters, which you could do with the cover, this personalized covers, they could be shipped directly from the company that we partner with to ship that out to people. So right now we really only have one employee, if you were to say that, with that being my wife. Although at times we have had more than one employee. When we sort of have an older business model and we were trying to do different things with the company, we had more people at that. Right now we've got it streamlined and it's a very simple business to operate.
And are there any moves to be made, and are they all produced in one place, a certain location?
Yes, we have one location that prints the basic covers that people would have printed, and we used to offer frames even, but it got to be much to inventory those frames, so we don't anymore. But we're just about to make a big change, and that is to no longer print anything ourselves. We have a third-party partner that is very good at this kind of thing, and the idea being to have a completely online business that had no inventory, and we simply could just manage the customers, which is the most important thing, is having customers be happy. So a third party will handle all the printing of everything we do.
And would you mind telling me a bit about your professional background in starting prior to this business and in starting other businesses?
Sure. And it's relevant because it came out of printing. I was in the printing business for a long time, more than 25 years. So I've been in it for more than 16 years when I started YourCover. So I had an understanding of why it was too expensive to try and do that at the beginning. And as digital printing came to be, part of it, then it was easier to do that. So it really helped me understand images and printing and the customer experience and what people look at and whatnot. So they're very connected, the businesses.
Right. And for the business, what makes it feel like this is a success and that you should keep continuing YourCover and pursuing that business?
That's a great question, because we've thought many times. The business says, I like to joke, it's the slowest startup in history, been going for 15 years. I also say that we're one of the oldest businesses on the internet, and that is also true. We're the only company that probably has been doing it for 15 years. It's had modest success at best. We really haven't lost too much money in any one year, but over the years we've put a lot of investment in the company to try and gain momentum. And we have a solid business, but it is not spectacular. It has not been the success that we hope for. So we hope this last change that we're making is going to make a big difference.
And what's been the worst experience, you would say, while running the business, if there is one?
The worst experience in the business is learning that it's possible to have a really good idea, because everybody I ever told about this idea said, that's a great idea. And coming to the realization that possibly just because it's a great idea doesn't mean it's going to make a great business.
Right. And if you could change one thing about the way you operate, besides obviously maybe this third party, if there was one thing you could do to change how you operate the business, is there anything else you would do?
In the short term, I would really like to have the money, the capital to do an app, because I do think there's a whole mobile aspect to YourCover that we've not tapped, and that at an event you could shoot it and have a couple of headlines go in, and it would be very simple and easy, maybe not with the utility that the main site has, but we definitely, I think, are missing something when we do that.
Right. And what is the best advice you would give someone that wants to start their own business? Maybe not along the exact same lines as this, but any sort of entrepreneur-like venture.
If you start a business, you should be doing it because you really love the idea and you really want to see it come to life. You shouldn't start it to make a lot of money. You shouldn't start it because somebody told you to, or you don't want to work for anybody else. That's a contributing reason, but it shouldn't be the main reason. It should be because you love the idea and you want to see it come to life.
Okay. And what else would you like to tell me about your business or owning a small business in general?
A lot of times people will tell you that entrepreneurs, they're their own boss, and that's what's so beautiful. You don't have anybody telling you what to do, but you always have somebody telling you what to do as an entrepreneur. Every customer that you have is basically your boss. And so the pressures are different, so you don't have a superior telling you when and what to do in particular, but if you don't pay attention to what the customer's saying, then you won't have a business. So it's every bit as pressure-filled and in just a different way.
And what's one of the best moments that you've had?
The best moments for YourCover are probably when we changed the site and we made it a fully online business. I was very proud that we were able to take an idea that was an old idea and make it into something that's new and more up to date. And that's really hard to do, and that was a real good moment.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Kolier, and it was great talking to you.
My pleasure.